Hey everybody, welcome to Cupboard Creations. My name is Gareth and this is my little corner of the internet for playing with my food. Today I'm doing something really simple for you. Something I absolutely love. It's my sweet chili sauce. It's just, I don't know, it works with everything. You know, don't just consider it a dipping sauce. It works as a beautiful kind of glaze if you're doing some like pork ribs or something like that. Absolutely beautiful, just glaze it on there. And it is, like I say, pretty easy to make. So we'll get cracking straight away, and the very first ingredient, you're going to need a chilli. So all going to depend really on the type of chilli. You can't really say use this much chilli for this because you never know what it's going to be like. So you're going to have to make your own judgment on that one. I'd say if you've got a chilli about this size and you want sweet chili sauce like you normally get down a shop, probably going to use half of it. I like to use the whole thing, so I'm going to put the whole thing in there. So, probably going to get some of the seeds out. Don't really want all of them in there, just find it a little bit too bitty. I don't mind the odd one. And then we're just going to chop that down really small. There we go. So that dried chilli now is like really chopped down quite small. We're just going to now put in a couple of other ingredients. So you want some garlic. I'm going to use 2 cloves of garlic here. Okay, so garlic done. I swear this stuff is so sticky. You ever run out of super glue? Probably do just as well. And then ginger. So you're probably going to want about ½ inch of ginger. So I'm using this lazy stuff because I am lazy. Quite frankly. So once it's chopped, it's going to be about a tablespoon's worth. That's about that much. Okay, so that's my ginger done. Now those are your sort of main ingredients. They're going to give it all of its flavour. So what I'm going to do is pop them in a pestle and mortar and just smash them up a bit. The reason I do this is I want that chilli to go throughout it. And I've seen a few recipes and they'll talk about putting in food colouring and stuff to make it red. Well, if you break down that chilli a little bit, all that dried chilli, the oils that are still there will come out and they are red. So therefore you're going to get that kind of slightly orangey colour to it. So we're going to pop all of that in there. And then we're going to give it a bash up. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. We don't want to go too far because we don't want it to kind of become a paste. We want those little chunks of chilli, little bits of garlic still in there. It's created this nice kind of sort of red kind of mush at the bottom, and that will still hold together and will flavour this perfectly. So we can move that to there. Grab yourself a pan, smallest one you got if you're doing it this size. So this is only enough really to probably serve as a dipping sauce. You're probably going to get 4 or 5 people will be fine with this. About the same size as you'll get when you go down the shops and buy in a little kind of jar or a little pouring thing bottle. So pop all this straight into your saucepan. Now to add the extra ingredients. So we're going to add in some vinegar here, and I'm going to use a mixture of 2 vinegars. Now traditionally you just use rice vinegar, so feel free, but I kind of like to mix it up a bit, and I'll explain why in a sec. So we're just going to put in 3 tablespoons of rice vinegar. And then I'm going to use cider vinegar. And I just love it with this because apples and chillies just go so well together. It kind of highlights that slight sweetness. Really good. So we're going to put in equal parts, 3 tablespoons of cider vinegar. Okay. So that's the kind of sour bit in there. And then we're just going to add in some sugar. Now you're going to want quite a lot of sugar here. This is a sweet chili sauce after all. It's got to be sweet. So we're going to put in 6 tablespoons of just normal granulated sugar. There we go. One last thing, water. Basically you're going to use as much water as you did vinegar. but not quite now. So the first thing, 4 tablespoons, just cold water. Pop that in there. And then later on when we kind of thicken it, we're going to use some corn flour and we're going to use some water in that to mix it up. So that will replace the water. So you'll end up with 6 tablespoons of water, 6 tablespoons of sugar, 6 tablespoons of vinegar. Just works. So now we can whack it over in the hob and start heating it up. Okay, so now we're over here. Just want to whack it on the hob, flick it on. And we're just going to heat that up until that sugar is dissolved and it's come to a simmer. So just keep giving it a little stir until that sugar's dissolved. You start seeing all those bubbles on top. That's all bubbling away now. The sugar's all dissolved. Last ingredient for this one. So what I've got here is 2 teaspoons of corn flour mixed in with 2 tablespoons of cold water. Just do it like this because it's easier to kind of mix it up and make a paste. Try and put it in dry, you're going to get clumps. So give it a little mix up first and then pour that in. And now we're just going to keep stirring it and keep bubbling it away. Always lid off. We want some of that water to evaporate. That's going to kind of start to thicken. You'll see it thicken pretty quick. So we're going to keep stirring that, not literally all the time, but you know, keep coming back, giving it a little stir fairly frequently. We're going to cook that for about 8 minutes until it starts to kind of really thicken up. You've got that perfect kind of sauce. Now, look for it because depending on how you've done it, you might want it a little bit thicker, you might want it a little bit thinner. When you think it's almost there, it's there because you're going to cool this down. You're not going to have it super hot. And as it cools, it will thicken and it will keep thickening. So just keep going, keep watching it, stirring it pretty frequently. Yeah, for about 8 minutes or so. Okay, here's a quick tip. As you're doing it, it's been simmering, bubbling quite vigorously away now for about 5 minutes. We just want to check, is it kind of almost there? Your best bet is get yourself a cold plate, just drip a bit on. Stick it to the side, and as that cools, it'll cool fast because you've only got like a little drip on it. You'll kind of see what consistency it's going to get to. So you'll notice, like at the moment, it's still dripping, drips all the way down. So not quite there yet. But if you can tip that, and it's kind of after it's cooled, it kind of stays where it is, you're pretty much spot on. Okay, so 8 minutes up and that is done. You can feel it as you're stirring it. It's kind of, it doesn't move the same way it did. It's kind of got that gloopiness. We can always have one last little check. Pop a bit on there. And yeah, it's kind of oozing. And as it's cooling, it's oozing less and less. It's almost staying still. So that'll do. Let's pop that one off. Let's go jar it up. Right, jarring time. So, if you've got one of these little funnel things, good for you, nice and easy. If not, just be a bit more careful. And be careful of that, because that is pretty hot. So all we're going to do is just pour it into our jar. Here we go. Scrape the rest out. Don't want to lose any. There we go, just lid on, and that's about 150 ml. We're just going to leave that to cool down and whack it in the fridge. And so that will keep for quite some time. You know, it's going to keep for a week or two easily if you can last that long. If you sterilise the jars and stuff like that, you could probably make it last, you know, for a good couple of months before you use it again. But I never last, you know. Doesn't matter, I just want to eat it. So grab yourself some prawn crackers. Once it's cooled down, pour it out, get a dip in. It's an absolutely beautiful little sauce. So there we go, that's my sweet chilli sauce. I hope you give it a go, I hope you enjoy it. I'll catch you next time. Cheers.